Hey guys, this is Sam the Geek, and Sony just announced the new remodel of their Vita, and I just happened to actually acquire one from Craigslist. I got it for $160, and I also got two games with it, which is Uncharted Golden Abyss and Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified. And I just thought I'd share some of my thoughts about the Vita with you. I mean, it's actually a really well-built system. I've played it before. When it first got announced at E3, I got my hands on it. And, there's always something about the kiosk versions of these consoles that never feels right. Well, now that I have the freedom to move around and stuff like that, it's actually a lot better than it was shown at the kiosk. And it's still a pretty big console. Like, I'm surprised how big this is. My friend had a PSP 3000 with him because he uses it for music, and we compared it at the college, and it's huge. Just to give you an idea, here's a Game Boy Advance. It's a lot bigger than the Game Boy Advance, as you can see, and it's so far a really sturdy system. My only real complaints about the controls is that the back touchpad isn't as responsive as I'd like it to be, and these sticks aren't that great. They feel pretty good when you first start to use the sticks, but after a while, they really, really cramp up your hands, especially in a position that you have to hold it in order to use the sticks. It just doesn't feel comfortable. It really doesn't. After like 10 minutes of playing, I have to put the thing down because it just hurts my hands a little bit. That's just my experience with it. Maybe I'm not holding it correctly, or maybe you have to play with my hands are pretty big. Maybe that's the problem too. I don't know. But you see, in order to actually get your thumbs on there, playing it like this for a while just cramps up my hands. And that's not something that I really experienced with the 3DS. But the 3DS has the problem where it digs into the palms of your hands with these sharp corners. I have a lot much more on-the-go lifestyle now. I'm almost never home. I haven't even been able to finish Pikmin 3. And when I saw the 3DS, the PS Vita on sale for $160 on Craigslist, I couldn't really pass that up, especially since, with all these new updates, my iPhone's battery's life's probably going to get shorter, and that means that, I won't be able to play games as long without having to charge. So I picked up the Vita, and I'm pretty impressed with how games actually play on the thing. I got Call of Duty Black Ops Declassified, and it feels like a real Call of Duty game. It really does. I get into it, and I haven't played Call of Duty in a long time. This is the first Call of Duty game I've actually bought since Modern Warfare 2. I've actually borrowed my brother's or other people I used Call of Duty to see how the story was, and that's what I reviewed Black Ops 2 on last year, is on one of my brother's copies. And I haven't actually sat down and played, Call of Duty multiplayer for extended periods of time or stuff like that in a long time. And I got to experience that on the PlayStation Vita. And it feels like a real Call of Duty. The multiplayer is pretty fun. I had fun with it. And I was actually pretty shocked when I went to go look at the reviews, and there was like 3s and 5s out of 10s. I don't know what people were expecting. It's a watered-down Call of Duty. Sure, the story's short. And sure, the multiplayer has some netcode issues. But aside from that, it's Call of Duty. I don't know what people were expecting. It plays like it acts like it, and it's pretty well done and designed around portable systems. The missions in the game are very short, and that's because you're on a portable system. I don't know why people want full-fledged console games on their handhelds. It just doesn't work well for me. I tried to play Uncharted, and I really enjoy the game, and it feels like a full-fledged Uncharted. If you liked Uncharted 2 and 3 like I did, this feels just like them. There's almost no difference. It feels like a full-fledged console title. But there's some downsides to that. When I'm playing a portable game, I want to take breaks and stuff like that. And to go through this thing, the checkpoints are very weirdly placed. And some of the cutscenes are unskippable, and there's just stuff like that that's just a little irksome when you're trying to play a portable console. And another thing about the Vita is that the speakers stink. They just stink. You can barely hear them when you're trying to play the thing. You know, you have to get headphones, pretty much. Whereas with the 3DS, I can hear it fine. The speakers are pretty loud enough. And I don't know. It's just odd. Just to have this thing with the amazing OLED screen. I mean, the screen's awesome. But then you run into the stuff that's not so great. It feels like a very, very, very premium product until you check out some of the other features. For example, the camera is no better than the 3DS. It's a horrible camera. It's just awful. I couldn't believe how bad it was. I thought it would be a better camera since the thing costs more and since it's supposed to be a premium product. But the camera is just as bad. It's like early 2000s cell phone cameras on the front and the back. So I was shocked at that. And then you had the bad speaker quality, which was also a shocker. Because the PSP actually had pretty good speaker quality. And the PSP is actually better in terms of speaker quality than that. But the PSP was supposed to be an all-in-one system. They were trying to capitalize on that, and they're trying less so on this. I mean, there's options for music, but they're not really throwing it in your face like they were with the Vita. I mean, with the PSP. And that also comes to the interface. As you guys know, I'm not the biggest fan of the XMB. I always thought the XMB was a very bad interface, and I never thought that I'd find something worse on the Vita. And the interface is awful on the Vita. It's just awful. It feels like someone made it feels like a Chinese knockoff of the iOS interface, and except with even worse features. And everyone complains about how the iOS interface has this, like, they try to make it feel like antique stuff is coming in your digital software. You know what I mean? Like you have the pool table and card table like feel to Game Center and all that. Well, there's all that kind of stuff in this as well. Like, in order to close something, you turn the page. And I don't know, it just feels really badly done. I felt even bringing back the XMB on it would have been a better idea than what they did. And having a separate app to go into your friends, and a separate app to go into your trophies, and a separate app to go into your messages, it just all feels really poorly done. I was very, very surprised at how bad the PS Vita interface was. But aside from that, it's actually a really good system in the sense that if you want something that's on the go, that almost feels like a console, it's your system. It's really well done for that. But you're not going to get the same quality. It's not as good as PlayStation 3. It's not as good as Xbox 360. It just doesn't feel the same. I mean, the controllers on both those systems are vastly superior. The sticks on this actually feel like the GameCube C stick. If you controlled with that, that's how it feels. But, I was pretty shocked at how actually a lot of the good things about it. And for $160, I feel that is the sweet price. For $160, I have no regrets. This thing was awesome for $160. But if I had to pay $250 and I had to pay $50 for both those games, it would stink. I wouldn't be happy with it. I would not be happy with my purchase, because then my purchase would be $350. And I got it for less than half of that. And I feel that it's really well done. I recommend that if you're going to buy a Vita, to buy it used. I just don't feel that the $250 price point is worth it. If you have PlayStation Plus, it's an amazing value, because if you have PlayStation Plus, almost all the games on it are free. So if you have a Vita and you wanted any game you ever wanted, it's on there for free. But aside from that, I think it's a pretty good system. I hope to see a lot more games in the future, because there's absolutely no games on it right now, pretty much. It has less support than the Wii U and has less support than the 3DS. And I feel like if you want a very solid system with a great gaming library, the 3DS is still better. But if you want something really specific to portable, I really recommend just downloading apps on your Android or iPhone, because I feel paying $40 for a game on Vita and 3DS just really isn't worth it. I mean, we're getting very high quality games on the iPhone and Android, And I feel both systems need to step up to that. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that my iPhone 4S's battery life is probably going to get killed by iOS 7, I wouldn't have even thought about buying a Vita. And my 3DS would just scratch the itch. But I feel that the Vita is still a pretty well-made system. I don't know who it's supposed to appeal to. Maybe the remote play on the PS4 will be awesome, and I'll review that when that comes out. But so far, I gotta say, if you're gonna get a Vita, buy it used and try to find cheap games. Don't buy them at full price. They're not gonna be worth it. They're not gonna be what you expect. But hopefully something cool comes out. And honestly, an X2 remake is not my kind of idea of a great game. I hope to see a lot of the cool, interesting games, indie games coming to the PS4 on the Vita. I feel a lot of them would play better on the Vita, but we'll see. All right, that's all I gotta say. Samuel out.